The number of confirmed deaths has passed 200. The governor has called a state of emergency.
There are hundreds and hundreds of...
Hello there, Sarah from 17 once again. This is my Last of Us Survivor difficulty video walkthrough. This is Chapter 4, Pittsburgh. This is Alone and Forsaken. And this is one of the harder parts of the game. But it's also one of the most amazing set pieces in it, because it is so just brutal, intense, and downright ferocious. You're about to get assailed in this store, I'm not too sure what it is, like a supermarket, by a shit ton of hunters, which are humans who actively hunt and kill other humans. You know, fantastic world that this has turned into. These people are taking advantage of the lack of morality, and now you have to fight. So immediately off the bat, what I'm going to say here, guys, is this is a pretty tough engagement. It's quite a long engagement, and the checkpoints are just fucking awful. And they're not awful because they're bad against the player. They're awful because I can't really make a guide with them. So there was a fantastic shot with me with a shotgun. This guy's beating me up with a piece of wood, and we've started pretty good already, as you can see. But luckily enough, I managed to clip him then, I think, and then I can pick him with a human shield and either use him or put him down. So I do a quick knee to the face, get back behind the shelf, and we can continue, you know, taking on this engagement. But what will happen is when you kill a few people, the game will checkpoint. And then when you die, which I do die in the middle of this, and you're going to see a crossfade, it puts you in a spot you weren't even in. There it is. And the enemies are at the spawn points before they were even in the world. So it just completely fucks up on the continuity and makes it impossible for me to link the footage. And the difference is, there's already a few guys dead at this point. It's not like it's an entire checkpoint. It's just a really weird checkpoint in the middle of a fight, and after a few guys. And it's not that strenuous. The reason I died is because I got grabbed and I didn't have a lot of life, because I'm choosing not to heal on this playthrough. But this is the next spawn of dudes. You'll notice I've got a couple of rifle rounds, a couple of shotgun rounds, and one of the things that is your best bet in these encounters is your ears. I was playing this on Tritons. I could hear everything. It was glorious in my Adobe. Adobe? That's not right. Dolby. Or Dolby, not even an A. I'm just making up words. Surround sound 5.1. And I was hearing everything. It was really useful for me to track enemies down, because you do not have the listening mode, which is quite the, you know, it's quite the crutch on the earlier difficulties, and it isn't in this version of the game. And somebody asked me, how did somebody turn white on a previous video without listening mode? And I'm not sure if I've mentioned it, but your team can spot enemies for you. It's kind of random when they do it, and it will make them highlighted, and you can see them through walls. I don't know if it lasts forever. I think it only lasts for a little while. But yeah, checkpoints are kind of weird on this sequence. But when you can hear things, if you're using a headset or if you've just got your TV cranked up, it's going to help you a lot. But what it's also going to do is introduce you to the concept of Ellie being a nuisance, because Ellie runs around and she's not light-footed. So the amount of times that I've heard footsteps run towards me and I've spun around with my shotgun and it's been her, I can't even begin to tell you the amount of times I wanted to shoot her in the face and have this all done with. Because it's frustrating, it is. They should have toned her down, and I know it's realistic to have her make sound as well, but they should have made it negligible compared to the other people. But one solace that I did find is, the enemies, when they move, and especially when they run, they'll talk. Like, if they see you and they sneak up on you, they will declare that they have seen you and that they are about to initiate combat with you. So for most, you're not going to get yourself into that bad of a spot. But at this point right now, the fight is over, we've survived. It's a case of looking around, finding some stuff, and then getting to the next sequence so that you can do a little bit more plundering, a little bit more pillaging, and progress on through the level. Couple of things to say too. I tried to stealth this encounter. I got out the window at the side of this building, I came up the street, I got to the place where you're supposed to go, and it wouldn't let me interact with it, so I couldn't push the game forward, and I believe that this is a mandatory fight. It saddens me that that is the way the game is designed, but at the same time, if that ain't one of the most intense and enjoyable fights in this game, I don't know what is. You know, I've mentioned before that I think that this game really shines when you're struggling, and that there was a struggle. And it wasn't a struggle because it was hard, it was a struggle because it feels real. You know, people are punching you, beating you up, you're missing your shots, they're missing their shots, it's dirty. There's something really just gritty and great about it, and the video doesn't do it justice because it's a feeling, guys, and I know I'm sounding a little bit like a broken record, but it's one of those things you have to feel it. And I'm curious now if you can lure the hunters away from this to a further enough distance that you can actually open the door, but I don't think you can, because I'm not sure what's happening here. I don't know if this is a mid-level load. I don't know if this is a canned animation. I don't actually know if you're vulnerable in this animation, because I've never got to this sequence. I think doors and activation of doors are pretty much turned off during combat, and that scenario there is pure combat, so I think that's how that's managed. Obviously, I don't know for sure. I am not a games developer as much as I would love to be. I'm nothing in the game industry at this moment in time. I'm just kind of building my path to hopefully being something, be it journalism, be it, content producer. I don't even care. If you're listening to this and you're in somehow way affiliated with some people that do what they love and that love is gaming, please get in contact with me. Please help me out, guys. I need everything I fucking can. It is an unbelievably competitive industry and I'm getting nowhere fast. But in this room is a smoke bomb. You can make them with explosive powder and, I believe, sugar. And it's actually a useful tool. As useful as it is, I'm only going to use it twice. One of them is to obscure myself from a sniper. The second one is towards the end of the game, I think. And the one at the end of the game is not necessary. I just wanted to get a little bit more creative, because this game definitely rewards creativity, and it is fun to experiment. But the sequence here that you're watching is us moving through this residential area where these hunters live, and it's showing you all the loot of the previous people that they've tricked with this little trap that they did. Obviously, I've trimmed the cutscene out of this version of my walkthrough. If you want to see the version with the cutscene and the trap that happened, you'll have to watch the version with the story. Right there is a health kit upgrade. That does not mean shit to me, because you're not going to see me using health packs if I can help it. And now that I've recorded the guide, I can't think of any other time except for the mandatory heal at the beginning of the game where I heal. So hopefully that should give people faith, if they're having trouble, that they can get through it when they've got a couple of med packs. That being said, you do have to heal on the fly. The game does not pause, it is not immediate, and you will be killed while you are healing if an enemy knows where you are. But this is another bench. We have 132 cogs, or bits and scrap metal and what have you. So I'm going to use it, as you can see, to put a couple of points into my weapons. I will not be putting anything into reload speed. I've previously mentioned that I enjoyed a reload during a battle. Good old Revolver Ocelot taught me that trait. Normally, I would completely get rid of that in any other game, but in this game, I kind of felt like it was authentic. There's something extremely nerve-wracking about thumbing in a bullet when a dude is coming to smack your face in with a piece of wood. And it just adds to the immersion for me. Like, if I could turn the hood off, I would. Because I think this game without the hood would be beautiful. And not only would it be beautiful, but it'd allow me to make machinima from it. Because the other day when I was editing together the footage for those videos, I put up the Dark Souls one and the Last of Us in 20 seconds. It was just so much fun having this footage, having this piece of art in front of me, and enabling me to use my own creativity to chop it up and put it together. And I didn't do anything massive or anything really impressive, but I still enjoyed my time with it because it's such high quality that I felt like it made my work better. And that is the only thing an artist can strive for, to get inspired and to really enjoy the stuff that he's running his fingers through. But bit of scrap metal down here. We're about to encounter some more hunters, and this is a choice coming up of to kill them or to not kill them. It's completely on you. I'm going to stealth past them, mainly to save some ammunition, because I know that there's a quarantine zone coming up with a shit ton of dudes in it. And I mean a shit ton of dudes. It's another fantastic opportunity for a firefight and a super tense, hunting section for you to kill and eliminate a bunch of dudes. On the flip side, you can stealth it, and that's what I'm going to do on this playthrough. On my first encounter on hard, I had the most nerve-wracking siege on that camp that could have possibly happened. I wish I'd recorded some of these experiences, because at the time they felt like earth-shattering. They felt life-changing, as profound as that is. They really did. It felt just feverish and intense, and I wish I'd have recorded some of it, but I was so just hungry to play the game. I was so hungry to to get it done so I could start the guide. Because if you're new to the channel, you might not remember when I made a walkthrough for Naughty Dog's Uncharted 3. I got that game early, and I managed to get the first crushing difficulty walkthrough on YouTube, and that guide did a lot of work for me when I was a smaller channel, and I'm very proud of it, and it's one of my favourites, and it's a great guide. And it would be awesome if I could get a similar response with this one, but realistically, this game, and the fact that I got it early, but I played it late because of life circumstances, and the fact my internet's gone to shit because don't get a broadband with Sky. And if you're listening, Sky, fix your fucking broadband. Like, that is impeding me. Some of the stuff that I had to do today has impeded me doing these commentaries. The heat of my room is practically meant that instead of doing as many as I would like, I've had to just literally get a bath or a shower because it's just too much. It really is. You know, it gets to the point where I'm sweating so much I get hungry. And I don't think that that's natural. But this sequence, I move over here because I'm expecting there to be something to pick up. I'm also doing it because I'm hoping it's going to trigger them to speed up and get the fuck out of this zone. It doesn't. You can literally climb on the other side of the bus, onto the bus and progress. I'm just wasting time, if anything, right now. But this is such a goddamn beautiful game. It doesn't really matter because there's so much delicious visuals to drink in. It's really something else. And what does Naughty Dog do next? Where do you go from this game? It's so much different than Uncharted ever was. They've already done Uncharted, and it makes me wonder, are they going to do something completely different? Or are we going to get, you know, the ones who remain? You know, the remnants of us. What are we going to get? I don't know. I would love them to do a new IP and cover something different. I just have no idea what that different thing's going to be.
We'll get there.
Because they've spread themselves so wide and so diverse, from platforming to fantastic story. Like, I'm almost spoiled at this moment in time when people tell me this game has good dialogue, that game has good dialogue, that game has a good story, and I just think, dude, I've played Last of Us. You know, I'm pretty much fucking done at this point. It's going to take a couple of years for somebody to come and match just the quality and fidelity, and I use that term a lot, and there's no truer sense of it than what you see right here. This game is astounding. I don't know if it's the Citizen Kane of gaming, but it's real fucking close. But this is where the fun begins, because right now there will be active targets walking about that will spot you, and you will have an entire army of dudes on your ass if you're not careful. But over by this window there is 3 dudes having a conversation. This conversation lasts forever. So instead of sitting here like an idiot like I'm doing, I would advise you to move back past the front of this area and go around the other side and up the fire escape. Or up the thing that's kind of a walkway akin to a fire escape. Because what I'm going to do, instead of taking them out one by one and hunting them, I'm going to get up to the 2nd floor, I'm going to stealth kill a couple people, I'm going to distract a dude with a bottle, and I'm going to get the hell out of Dodge. And I think somebody spots me towards the end, but we're already too far gone, we've already tripped the checkpoint, we're already in the next zone before the game can do anything about it. But if this is your first playthrough, and you want to do some hunting, you want to do some stealth killing, and you want to get to grips with the combat, I recommend attempting this area. Because I had one fear before I played this game, and that was, how are they going to handle and pace the combat? Is it going to get to the point where you're taking down an entire battalion? Is it going to get to the point where the value of your actions is just completely worthless because you've been killing dudes for so long? It loses all appreciation. It loses all impact on you. Are you going to desensitize yourself? Or are they going to pace it in such a way where you always respect your enemy and you always feel vulnerable? And I think for the most, I think they've done a great job. I think a certain few areas could have done with less enemies, and I think certain areas could have done with no enemies. Because I've mentioned in a previous video that the commitment to building atmosphere and building tension in this game is very commendable, but I wish they'd pushed it further. And one example that I think stands out massively is when they introduced the Stalkers. And the Stalkers are an infected that are weird. They kind of hunt you. They kind of dick around with you. They remind me of the stalkers on Dead Space, which, if you've never played Dead Space, there were these dog-like creatures that kind of taunted you. They poked their head out, they faked you out, and then they screamed, and then they ran at you. The difference here, obviously, is the stalkers on this game are nowhere near as lethal as the Dead Space ones. And before someone in the comments says, oh no, I think they're both equally as dangerous, it just ain't true, folks. Because if you're playing on normal, it doesn't count. And that's not to take away, you know, the challenge of normal. It's just to say, I am making this judgment based off the hardest difficulties of both games. The stalkers in Dead Space insta-kill you. The stalkers in this game do not insta-kill you. And that is with unupgraded life, no medpacks. So, just take it from my experience. And I've had quite a lot with them because they only show up twice. But both times they show up, they're a pain in the ass. And at first, they were the first thing that freaked me out in the game. Because I don't like anything that doesn't attack me when it knows where I am. That to me is kind of creepy. And your first introduction to these things, when all you've seen in the entire game is the runners and the clickers, is you turn around and there's an enemy in your face. And it doesn't attack you, it runs away. And there's a little bit of music because it's been building tension the entire time with some strings. And it's creepy. It's really creepy. And I think that's the only enemy and part of the game that actually freaked me out. And by the time I got to it on my second playthrough, I kind of saw the game mechanic behind it, so I lost all the intimidation factor, and it's just become another part of the game that I have almost no worry about now, because I know how it works. But at the time, on my first playthrough, that kind of got to me. And as far as fear goes, or real tension, there was a couple of moments, you know, where it's a little bit creepy, but it never really did much. But that moment was great. All the other tension that I get from playing this game personally comes from the combat. When you have low ammo, there are enemies seeking for you, you're trying to get away from them, break the line of sight. You see a guy with a shotgun, you only have one bullet in your revolver, and you know that your aim is not brilliant because you've only been playing the game for a few hours and you just don't have that twitch, that muscle memory down yet. But what's going to happen here is this is a very long level, folks, and it's going to end when we enter the hotel lobby for the next area. And to get there, you have to do a little bit of puzzling here, which is, you know, get the crate or the pallet, bring it towards Ellie. She steps on it, and then she moves a plank for you so you can get across. It's pretty simple stuff. So in the meantime, I'm going to talk about something a little different because there's 2 minutes left, and I really have nothing to indulge you with at this moment in time. So Dark Souls, something that is covered feverishly on my channel for good reasons. It's a fantastic game. It's a game that I recommend everybody plays, even if you have anything against it like I did before I played it. It's superb. I have found out, because I was too lazy to Google and I just kind of assumed it wouldn't work, that the Shiva Orb that you can get via save editing, which is an invasion that they put in the game at an early stage but took out because, you know, for whatever reason it just did not make the final release, is actually functional. So you can use it to invade in the painted world, and you will be a spirit of vengeance in Shiva of the East's world, where you can fight him and his bodyguard. And I've covered a lot of Dark Souls and I've showed you some interesting things and some cool things, but I haven't showed you this, so I'm going to make a video of it. And I'm kind of tempted to show you everything that was taken out of the game and put it in a video or something, you know. A whole bunch of things in Dark Souls that you might not have known were there on some level type deal, like the elite armor, the elite cleric armor, sorry, like the mage smith stuff, things like that. And I know a lot of people don't like the cheat engine because they look at it, not cheat engine, it's a save editor. It's got nothing to do with cheating. It's just the perception that you are cheating because you are not earning it through the game, which once again, that is an issue on the person. That is like a mental block. That is like the motherfuckers that couldn't contemplate reading in your head, so they had to do it out loud, and they drowned people for being witches because they didn't have to read things out loud. That is just a lack of evolution just a lack of an openness to appreciate something. And I'm not even going to go into that because this video isn't long enough and I've already covered it ad nauseum. But a couple of things up here to pick up, a couple of notes, a couple of pills and what have you. The only thing left to do here, folks, is to go back down here, cross across to the other lobby, and then carry on with the game. So, as usual, thank you for watching. I hope the guide is helping, and you take care now.
Do you think those hunters are gone?
We're about to find out. It's clear, Ellie.